Hello, my name is Clay Mize, and I'm seeking to represent you as Scurry County Judge. I served our nation in the Texas Army National Guard, and I was honorably discharged from the 62nd Battalion Army Corps of Combat Engineers out of Fort Hood, Texas. I have always maintained some level of self-employment since I was a child, even while working other jobs. My wife Allie, of 14 years, and I own a small business locally. Like many of you, we survived the pandemic without Fed assistance and chose to trust our God-given natural immunity with guidance from America's Frontline Doctors.org through their incredible telehealth organization. I found the entire COVID scenario extremely disquieting when I stumbled upon a book titled The New World Order by A. Ralph Epperson. My vision of the county communities is a simple one of policies within the scope of my position that will reverse what has been done to facilitate this travesty. The government, after all, belongs to the people, and that's precisely how my administration will conduct itself, such as proposing to the Commissioner's Court that the meetings be held in the evening to facilitate more community participation. In my opinion, the two most crucial issues facing the county are, one, COVID response and lack of treatment options. I intend to set up a volunteer, citizen-led informational and advisory committee. That committee would continue through the pandemic and well into the recovery. The second issue would be budgets that are not controlled by the people. Currently, the county has 11 vacant district chair positions that I intend to encourage taxpayers to fill these. I would seek input from each of them in advisory capacity to allow the people to have a lot more input where their tax dollars are spent. After all, in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. I would also listen to the request for establishing county financial bedrock facts. The strategies address these issues will come from the court through the district chairs and the people-led advisory committees. My thoughts carry no greater relevance than any other taxpayer. My vote on the Commissioner's Court would only be used in case of a tie vote from the commissioners themselves. When I have to vote on issues, I will side with the people that produce the tax funds, for that's where my treasure lies. The quality of life programs that this community helps to fund and support are very important to me, and they need to be continued. I do believe that before any budget amending takes place, the county financial bedrock facts need to be established. For instance, would we fund a proposed theme park before we make sure water systems are up to par? The people need to know these bedrock facts in order to move forward with any such stewardship input. My administration will hold many community budget workshops as to carry out the will of the people related to their tax funds. After all, we the people are the masters of the government. This is why elected officials are referred to as public servants. If I were to make all the budgeting decisions myself, we would simply be moving from one oligarchy to another. This is why the district seats and advisory committees will be critically important to me. My work experience has always included budgeting other people's money. I have several awards from employers for my efforts in finding areas to save lots of money in the production, maintenance, and facilities management fields. Too many, in fact, to list out within the time constraints of this video. The budgeting decisions aren't about me. They're about the people and about you. I can point things out and make suggestions, but it is ultimately the people that will determine where their hard-earned tax dollars are spent. After all, our treasure lies within one another. The stewardship of our money should reflect it. This fourth question is rhetorical and intended for commissioner candidates, in my opinion, but nevertheless I will address the part of it that applies to the county judge. Let me establish some financial bedrock facts for the county. For instance, in the 2021 official budget, the estimated receipts for the said budget are $20,773,897. Total road and bridge for all precincts was budgeted at $2,888,440 from page 43 of that same document. So if we take these numbers at face value, roughly 13.9% is being spent by all 4 precincts on maintaining roads and bridges, including the expenses for the county employees in those precincts. This means that approximately 86% of the budget is being spent elsewhere. Now, this is not an attempt to make other departments quote unquote less important. I'm merely laying out budgeting facts. Without getting into specifics, we spend more money on other single departments. So if we are to ascertain the importance of things by the amount of money we spend on them, it is clear that we value other things more than county roads. Both are important, but it is up to the will of the people to establish these bedrock facts and decide which is more important to them while complying with state mandates. The bottom line behind budgeting for a government entity, aka a corporation, the taxpayers are the means of production, and the government is the consumer of those means of production. In closing, I disagree with the context in which these questions are asked. They are presented using rhetoric to prop up a broken narrative that President Trump and others have dealt with several times. Just as in my interview with Robert Pratt, I, just as President Trump, believe that the people of this community are much more intelligent than that. Just stop and think about it. Your local politicians have embraced Chinese left-wing Green New Deal energy over an American industry that employs many of us and our families, and has for over 100 years. Not to mention all of the local support businesses that this industry provides. Will the taxpayers ever see a return greater than the lost tax revenue on that wind energy? I don't think so. They have sold us out, just as if they were China Joe themselves, right down to the lockdown orders. I believe it was an inadvertent peek at their poker hand, but I keep my mind open and a hope alive that they acted without foreknowledge. I believe the unconstitutional lockdowns were an attempt to severely cripple our economy, and they did. I believe they were carried out in concert with other nefarious participants, and they were locally done well in advance of Governor Abbott's unconstitutional actions. After all, actions speak louder than words, or as Jesus said, you shall know them by their fruits. I don't believe this is a path that we can continue to follow for several reasons. The main one being, China is not our friend. I believe that time will prove me even more so. In the end, the voters will see the tactics of the powers that be, just as they did in the story of Elijah and the priest of Baal. They repeat themselves because they use the same playbook. We see it because the book of life exposed them for the frauds they were then and now. So I ask you to vote for return of sanity and sound policies. Join me in returning the people's house to the people. Vote Clay Mize for Scurry County Judge and take a step to stop foreign influence locally. After all, this is why your local businesses are vanishing. You may reach my campaign email at pc@claysrnr.com or my phone 325-207-9200. You can text me there or call, but please communicate your desire to remain anonymous. Thank you very much.